Jill Stein, how well did she do in 2024? That's what we're going to find out today. We're going to fill out the map with every state from her worst to her best. Now, she was not on the ballot in every state, but she was on the ballot more or less either directly or as a write-in in more than 40 states. Now, she didn't do all that great nationally. She pulled in about 0.56%. That's about half of what she got in 2016, but it is more than Kennedy got. At the top, I've got 5 tiers of shading, broken down in increments of a quarter point. So we'll fill them out in order from lowest to highest, and then we'll talk a little bit about it at the end. So we'll start out with her worst state that she actually registered some votes. It's going to be in the Deep South. It's Mississippi at about 0.15%. Now, I'm not going to list the percentages each time because it only goes up a fraction of a point, but her second worst state is on the East Coast. It's Delaware. After that, it's back into the South. It's Alabama. And the last state in this tier is Vermont. Theoretically, that might be a state you'd think she'd do well in, given she's a progressive and that state is known for its progressive politics. Given she was technically not directly on the ballot there and instead she was a write-in, that's my assumption as to why her percentage is not higher. So that's it for that tier, where she got less than a quarter point. Now we've got the states where it was at least a quarter point, but less than a half a point. The first state is Tennessee. Then we've got Nebraska. Then it's South Carolina. Then after that, it's West Virginia. Then Idaho. Then back into the Southeast, it's Georgia. Then there's a 4-way tie with her percentage at 0.36. But in order of least votes to most, we've got Arkansas, then Louisiana. The next state is Kentucky. Then after that, we've got a key Rust Belt state, and that state is Wisconsin. Moving on up, she did better than those states in Florida, then North Carolina, New Hampshire, Montana, and the last state in this tier is another battleground. It's Pennsylvania. So now we're moving on up to the next tier. These are the states that Stein got at least a 0.5%. First up in the Southwest, New Mexico. Then it's Minnesota. Then we've got the Centennial State, Colorado. Then back in the Southwest, it's Arizona. Nearby, it's Utah. Then back in the Midwest, it's Illinois. On the East Coast, we've got Rhode Island. Then we're going to head back west to Missouri. Then we're going to bounce back east and go to New York. Then we're going to leave the lower 48 entirely. Not a ton of votes here, but that state is Alaska. Then we've got a ton of votes in the next state. We're going to go down into Texas. And that's it for this tier. Now we're going to go up to the next one. This is where she got at least 3/4 of a point, but still managed to fall short of 1%. The first state this time is the base state, Massachusetts. Then on the opposite end of the country, it's Washington. Then back again to the opposite end, it's Virginia. Then we've got one of the most crucial states, especially for Jill Stein. That is Michigan. She got 0.79% of the vote there. Then back on the East Coast, it's Connecticut. Then we're going to keep moving and go to Hawaii. And we'll stay out west and do Oregon. And the last state in this tier is back on the East Coast. It's New Jersey. So now we're going to go up to the highest tier. And relatively speaking, this is where Stein really turned it on. She got at least a full % of the vote in these 3 states, coming in at 1.06. It's the most populous state. It's California. Then on the opposite end of the country, all the way in the Northeast, it's Maine, where she pulled in 1.08. And we've got one state left. Where did Stein do her absolute best with 1.09%? It's not the state I would have guessed, but it is the old line state. That's Maryland. So those are all of the states, but there's one more thing to add. In Maine, they do allocate their electoral votes by congressional district. And technically in Maine's first, Stein did even better than she did in Maryland. It's very slight, but she got 1.11% of the vote there. But the point of this video is just focusing on the states as a whole. So that's it. This tells you where Stein did her best and her worst. Now, given she did not have full ballot access, and the Democrats did try to keep her off the ballot in the crucial states, it's going to be tough to really know what her potential was, especially with such low percentages here. But I'm not too shocked by Michigan being fairly high up. There was a lot of talk leading up to the election about how more progressive voters might be going for Stein because of the situation with Israel. But as I said, Vermont seemed like it would be a candidate for Stein getting a ton of votes, but it didn't really pan out that way because of the ballot access. Other states you'd think Stein would do well in would be Oregon and Washington, as well as Colorado, and even up in Maine. I'm not too shocked about that one. But overall, Stein did do better than Kennedy. She did better than Chase Oliver. She got in 3rd place in the national popular vote behind Harris. but she did about half as well as she did in 2016 and way less in terms of raw vote. So these aren't huge numbers and this doesn't really mean a lot, but it does put it a little bit into perspective how well Jill Stein did across the country. So that's it for this one. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about Maryland being Jill Stein's best state? How about her ballot access, and which state do you think she should have did better in? Let me know anything you took note of down below, and on your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to help support the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.